What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time here on RotoGrinders. I am Britt Devine. If you miss me for basketball, sorry, everybody. I take basketball off. Back for baseball, though, with a weekend show from last year. I think I'll be on most Sundays, I believe. We got TJ pulling every hat here at RotoGrinders. We got Tim as well. TJ, what's going on today, dude?
Not too much. Busy morning, writing some expert surveys for NBA, for MLB. We got an MLB show this morning, an NBA show later today. My wife goes back to work tomorrow. Maternity leave finishes, and so we're getting things ready to go with that, prepping things for her to be gone and us to handle baby while she's back working. So busy morning, but overall, it's really good. Almost took down the NBA Minimax last night, but fell just short.
How does Canada treat paid time off like that when you have a baby? Is it good up there? Is it company-based? Is it government? How's it work up there?
Bit of both, company-based and government. Like there always will be some from the government, but it depends where you're working. And so we are going to definitely miss being able to hang out all the time and have her here helping with the baby. But from a money perspective, it's definitely nice having her go back to work.
Yes, I definitely remember that as well. Tim, what's going on? You've been grinding the basketball streets, but now it's baseball is definitely at the forefront of my mind. How's it going for you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Britt. Nice to see you again. I haven't seen you since the end of baseball season last year. So great to have you back on the weekend team. I've been grinding basketball all season, but now it's baseball season. I strongly prefer baseball over basketball, so I'm pretty excited to have this going again.
All right, let's get into baseball. We're going to go to 12:35 is first pitch today, so we got maybe a couple extra 5 minutes or so. Let's get into this. The first thing I want to go over is I got the weather pulled up here, TJ, if you want to pull it up on the screen share for everybody. There's not too much to worry about. We do have a little bit of a weather reversal from yesterday in the Yankees game when they pulled out their Little League bats to hit 9 home runs with the wind blowing out when it was 100 degrees in New York. It's very different today. It's 50 with the wind blowing in. Washington, you might not get the shadows that helped the strikeouts each of the past 2 days, but you will have warm temperatures with wind blowing out for both the Phillies and Washington. TJ, I'm not really expecting any rainouts, maybe a couple of delays. Roth doesn't have anything. There's a yellow-orange. I don't really pay much attention if you guys are new this year. So it starts with an orange from Roth. I will read the yellow and oranges, but overall weather today, outside of hitting weather, not too worried about rain affecting us.
Yeah, not too worried about it either. I am maybe playing a little bit of Palante in that last game, but it doesn't really look like the rain is going to be affecting starting pitchers too much. Maybe just a little bit of a delay at the beginning of the game before it starts, and then by the time it sounds like a second delay could come, he would already be out of there. So don't hate a little bit of that, but for the most part, I'm not worried about the weather aspect too much outside of some nice hitting weather in Washington.
Yeah. All right. So with weather out of the way, I got SimLabs pulled up. If you guys are new to RotoGrinders, you're not in the Sims. Basically weights things like projected ownership versus projections, helps you do a bunch of other cool things for tournaments. We're going to mainly use this for today. We'll talk some cash games as well. Tim, my cash game brother, we'll have TJ doing some tournament takes. I'm doing tournaments for baseball as well. We'll have some takes on that as well. Tim, where do you stand on starting pitching today? If you look at overall ownership, this is based off of, I think it should be DraftKings I have pulled up here. Looks like Taj Bradley and Jacob deGrom are 1 and 2. Robbie Ray falling a little bit behind that as SP3. Where do you stand? Taj Bradley, to me, is definitely the top play of the slate overall when you factor in price on both sites. It would be deGrom generally, but he's trying to take a little bit off of all of his pitches, so he's maybe a mile or 2 per hour down, which is fine when you're already throwing 100. You can take a couple mile per hours off and still pitch effectively, but he wasn't great in the spring. I wasn't happy with some of his results either on some of his mechanics. How are you handling at the top today? Is it Bradley or DeGrom for you?
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be Bradley over DeGrom for me. We just got a blurb on X that DeGrom should only be limited to around 75 pitches. That is what RotoGrinders had him projected for to begin the morning. The bat was a little hot on his projected pitch count. The bat had him for 86, so I'm sure the bat will have to adjust him down a little bit. But still, regardless, it's Taj Bradley is the top overall option on all sites in all formats. Gets to go against a really high projected strikeout team, the Rockies, who we're going to be streaming against all season long. So I mean, the only argument against Bradley, as you can see in SimLabs, is ownership. Like, is this guy going to be over-owned? We don't worry about ownership in cash games, but in tournaments, that's a decision that each individual user is going to have to make. Right now, I do have Bradley in my single entry team on both sites and my cash game team on DraftKings.
So what about let's go to Jacob DeGrom, because DeGrom SP2 on DraftKings, or is there somebody else entering the mix with that pitch count at 75? It's not a huge off from people getting maybe 10 pitches more. Some of these other pitchers, you might go a little longer if you're pitching really well, but it's not a huge. This is in the middle of the season where you have a 75 pitch count and every other pitcher has 90 to 100. How are you handling that now that we have DeGrom capped at around 75 pitches? Because there's no other real sure things. I think you would say, we would always take DeGrom as a sure thing, maybe a little less so today. But what else is on your mind here for SP2? Is it still DeGrom?
It's going to be DeGrom for me in cash. I currently have him in my single entry team as well. I'd say if we truly do get 75 pitches out of him, then he's going to be, the superior play over some of these other guys that we could conceivably play. There's definitely arguments to be made to play other players, obviously in GPPs, but in cash, it's Bradley and DeGrom.
All right, so that's where I stand as well. I have 2 tournament teams on DraftKings. I don't have DeGrom on either one of those. I was sort of expecting him to be a little bit limited, and I like Bradley, and there's a couple other cheaper pitchers I like, maybe even more than DeGrom at this point. Just don't feel comfortable pulling the trigger on that in cash. TJ with SimLabs giving Taj Bradley a negative optimal minus projection. Where do you stand on him? Where do you stand on DeGrom? And give me a couple of your other favorite GPP players at the pitcher position.
Yeah, I'm going to be overweight on Taj Bradley today. I'm going to be above 50% on him in tournaments on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I might not go quite that much, only one pitcher site, but on DraftKings, he's just so cheap that I'm having a tough time getting off of Taj Bradley. So he's going to be in over half my lineups. I do still have about 30% DeGrom, 30% Ray. I'm keeping a tight enough pool on this big slate that it's still pretty easy to get to the field or over the field on these guys. And so 30% Ray, 30% DeGrom, and then basically 15 to 20% across the board of Aaron Nola and the cheap options. So I do have some Nola just in case he kind of snaps back into old form, even though this is some good hitting weather in Washington. But I got Nola at 16%, and then between 16 and 20, Feltner, Meyer, Palante, Martinez. Those are going to be the cheap options I'm taking shots on today.
Yeah, Nola, according to SimLabs, looks like the best tournament play because he's declined each of the past few years, but he does have some strikeout ability. We do have the winds blowing out there, but based off his baseline projections, looks to be a good play. My 2 favorite tournament plays, without question, one is Robbie Ray. One walk in the preseason or in spring training for Robbie Ray. What's going on with Robbie Ray? If that even carries around somehow to the regular season, I mean, Ray could be really locked in. He's 2 years removed from Tommy John. There are some strikeouts. You get the better side for Ray of the splits against De La Cruz. I think Ray has enormous potential to maybe lead the slate in strikeouts today. And if those walks and maybe the home runs don't turn into, or the fly balls don't turn into home runs, he could certainly get there. And TJ's on the other guy, Nick Martinez. We have 2% projection on him. I think he's going to approach double-digit ownership today, TJ, because he's just very clearly the cheap guy you want to use. Going into last year, the end of last year, he was pretty good. Had a pretty good spring. He's not going to light it up with Ks, but at 6,600, I mean, the Giants will have some ownership as well here. You get some correlation against that in your lineups. Martinez is definitely the cheap guy I want to play, and I'm glad to see that you're on him as well.
Yeah, I like him today. It's a tough ballpark, but he looked pretty solid last year. There are I see a few people in chat saying, what about Ober? What about Bybee? These are absolutely totally fine options as well. It's just there's so many pitchers on this slate. I needed to cut the line somewhere. And so when I looked at Ober, when I looked at Bybee, I kind of thought I would just prefer to get Ray or Taj Bradley into those lineups for me personally. But nothing wrong with playing Bybee, nothing wrong with playing Ober. If you want to get a little bit of Jack Kahanovic because he's super cheap and he's playing the White Sox, even though he doesn't strike anybody out, maybe just ground balls them to death. That's fine too. So it's there are a few of these guys that even though they're not in my pool, I still think they're playable. I just had to toe the line somewhere. Some guys that I do think would be full on fades for me for sure. Marcus Stroman just doesn't strike anybody out. Chris Bassett, got a ton of really good lefties in that Baltimore lineup. I don't trust him against them. And Andrew Heaney, who has just looked really, really terrible in spring training. Those are some guys that would be for sure X's for me.
I would have no problem playing Heaney against anyone. If you're a pitcher against the Marlins or a pitcher against the White Sox most days, not today, you have to have some strikeout ability, which Kahanovic basically doesn't at all. Tim, break it on Heaney, and then real quick, give me a couple of your tournament thoughts.
The last thing I want to say on Heaney is I just have a bad feeling he could end up only pitching 2 or 3 innings. Even if it's not going terribly.
Mm-hmm. Tim, where do you stand on Heaney? Break that. Or the big discussion of the day, Andrew Heaney, and then what do your single entry and 3 max teams look like? We'll get on to bats in just a second.
Yeah, I would definitely play Heaney today, or at least have him be part of my pool. Maybe not single entry, but in a 20 max or a 4 max, I might have him in one team, just because the matchup is so good. So I would leave Heaney in the pool. The guy that I'm concerned about is Nick Martinez. I actually like the Giants today, so I am going to be picking on Martinez a little bit for one-offs for Matt Chapman or Ramos or Flores, something like that. So I'm actually going to have more exposure to Giants bats than I am to Martinez. I'm not saying Martinez is necessarily a bad play. I just kind of prefer the Giants in this situation, and I'm starting to hear Martinez getting talked up a little bit on the slate. So I'm thinking that I might get some leverage on the field by rostering Giants bats.
Yeah, Martinez is definitely going to be the low salary pitcher. I think that's going to be owned out of all of those. Meyer's interesting too against the Pirates with no Cruz. He added some pitches to his pitch mix. He could be interesting too. But lots of ways to go, I think, today at pitching. So don't be scared to mix it up too much. And I'm kind of with TJ. The Obers, the BBs, those guys are just Bassett. Definitely not against the lefties. Those guys are just sort of on the wayside to me. Of course, they can have a good game, but at their ownership, I would be at TJ as well. I'd be at or underweight, not someone I would purposely be trying to get into my lineups outside of just trying to be different in general at the pitcher position. Let's go to offense. TJ, real quick, teams you're looking to stack today. What do we got here?
Yankees are my number one today, getting to them the most out of everybody. And, the team that I actually wrote up for my sneaky stack in the expert survey today, I didn't expect for them to be my second highest owned stack, but they did end up getting there, and that's Baltimore. Like we talked about with Bassett, he struggles against lefties, and Baltimore has a bunch of good ones. But in addition to that, Toronto's early in the season had to use their bullpen pretty aggressively so far. Scherzer left early due to injury. Barrios got lit up. Gaussman was the only one who was able to give them a decent performance in those first 3 games. And so if Baltimore is able to get into that bullpen early, I think they could have a really big game against Toronto. And then third for me is Toronto. So Baltimore, New York, and Toronto, the 3 AL East teams at the start of the slate are going to be my 3 highest owned stacks. So I'll know right off the bat if it's going to be a good day for me or a tough day for me. I mean, this is basically a sprint slate. All the games happen at pretty close at the same time. But those are my top three, followed, but then I'm just kind of mixing and matching. One of the reasons I wanted such a tight pitching pool is so I could get a lot of these different stacks in. And so I'm happy to see that for stack optimal rate in SimLabs, a lot of these guys that are having the highest leverage rate are a lot of these teams that I'm getting to a lot of in my stacks today. Philadelphia, Milwaukee Brewers, San Francisco Giants, Cincinnati Reds. A lot of these teams, I'm picking pitchers against them, but I'm stacking up against them as well. Texas, Angels, and then the last two teams I have a couple stacks are Tampa and the White Sox.
All right, Tim, let's break down position by position. Let's go to catcher. What are we looking at today? More so on DraftKings. There's a couple of cheap guys. There's d'Arnaud, there's Tice. If you go cheap with one of those guys, it really helps the rest of your lineup today. There's really no catcher you really want to spend up for today. How are you handling that? I'm going with one of the cheapies, probably d'Arnaud.
Yeah, I think it's d'Arnaud. I mean, you could go Tice, but I think d'Arnaud is the better play. He's only 2,800. That's way too cheap for him on the road, batting sixth. So I mean, I think he's one of the best like raw point catchers on the entire slate. So I mean, I'll take him all day long at under 3K.
I wish that Boston's pitcher wasn't a guy by the name of Dick Fitz. Or even if Fitz was just any better at baseball or was going to throw more pitches, because this Texas lineup is awful.
Mm-hmm. I think Fitz is a reasonably good play today. Honestly, is like if people are going to go to Martinez and Meyer, I didn't mention him, but like a deep sleeper for tournaments is definitely Fitz today.
Oh yeah, I know nothing about him other than his name. So if you're saying that, then maybe I'll take a shot in like one or in like maybe 5 lineups in 150, just because no Seager for that Texas offense. It does not that lineup's not looking very strong today. Looked very good in spring training. All right, let's give it a shot.
Yeah. TJ, did you have a Waka take? If you did, I didn't hear it.
I'm not playing any Waka just because he's going quite high. Like he's probably going to be the third highest owned pitcher today. And so I was going with a Waka fade, even though, like, was I seeing that correctly? There's no J-Ram in the Cleveland lineup today. Yeah, because he got hurt yesterday.
So yeah, he's out.
Yeah, I mean that Guardians lineup just looks pretty terrible without J-Ram.
That's a good point.
So I don't know. Like I do agree with you. Waka does seem a little bit too high owned, but I don't mind Waka today, and I think he has an extreme pitchers umpire as well.
I think I'm gonna drop my DeGrom exposure from 30% to 20%, and maybe drop my Taj Bradley from 50 to 40.
Oh, even Done Easy in chat has Waka, so it's clearly a good play now. So yeah.
Real quick, TJ, catchers, anyone standing out for you today based on ownership? Catchers usually someone I throw in a stack, something like that. How are you handling it?
Great day to punt catcher. Hunter Goodman at 2,500. Matt Tice at 2,100, batting right in the middle of the order. You got Travis d'Arnaud batting 6th. He's only at 2,800. If I can spend up, I do love Adley Rutschman and Austin Wells, but great day to just go with a nice cheap guy in your lineup today.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to first base.
That stands out the most to me.
Before I do, I need to tell you guys about RotoGrinders Combo Pro. The MLB DFS annual option is $425, but we dropped the price of Combo Pro to mirror the MLB annual package. You might as well get more stuff for the same price. Sounds pretty good in today's economy. Combo Pro 6-month gives you full access to our content, tools, and projections for every sport. But NASCAR, you got to pay Stevie for that one. And at a cheaper price than the monthly package. You save about 35% choosing 6-month instead of month by month. Sign up now for MLB, NBA, PGA, and more. All right, let's get to the first base position. Tim, there are a couple of ways. Let me slide that on over here to do first base today. I am big on Vlad today. I'm paying up for Vlad. Very easy to get on FanDuel. There are some other options you can do on DraftKings, but I'm paying up for him as well. Are you spending or saving? Because that's pretty much what you're going to be doing on DraftKings today.
I am currently spending on Vlad myself, so I completely agree with you. And he is so easy to get on FanDuel. You basically have to play him on FanDuel. But even on DK at 5,700, I have no issue with that at all. If you don't want to spend that much, you could go with like Nolan Chanel at 3,800. He would be an interesting play. I don't mind Cody Bellinger as like a GPP pivot off of Vlad. Same thing with like Bryce Harper. I think he'd be an interesting pivot off of Vlad, but I think it's Vlad or Chanel in cash games. Some optimizers are giving you some of these really cheap first basemen. I'm not doing that today. I mean, I'm not saying the projection's wrong. I don't want to build my team like that. So I'm going to be spending up at first today.
Yeah, if there were like $11,000 pitchers, maybe, but today's not the
right.
day for me.
Right. Exactly.
TJ, what are you doing? Harper, Schwarber. I know Schwarber's leading our optimal minus projection here. Basically, the highest optimal rate first baseman. Parker is pretty good. Lefty really shuts him down power wise. I know Schwarber and Harper can both hit home runs against any lefty. They're both very good against them. What are you doing with either one of those? Do you have a preference at first base between them and then anyone specifically you're looking at?
Vlad's my favorite as well, but I really like Schwarber today. I will be overweight on Schwarber. I like him better than Harper if I'm choosing one, but having said that, I would probably just play Schwarber in the outfield as opposed to first base position. Cody Bellinger is actually going to be my highest owned guy today just because I'm going really overweight on the Yankees. Just honestly, full disclosure, even though it's not as nice of weather, just in case this weird bat thing is true. That's not something that's going to go into projections yet, but just in case that is something that's real,
it's Volpe and Jazz are the only two swinging the little league bats right now.
Volpe hit a homer too.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But speaking of Jazz Chisholm is Spidey Bomb number 1 at plus 500 today. So second one coming at 75 likes. Jazz Chisholm, Spidey Bomb number 1 plus 500. But just in case the weird bat thing is true, if people didn't see it, there's a report going around that the Yankees have found a new bat that adjusts where the weight is within the bat, and it's still within the rules. And oh wow, they hit 8 home runs yesterday. It's probably nothing, and it was just a fluky day where the wind was blowing out and it was warm. But just in case, I like the Yankees offense anyways. And so I'm perfectly fine going with them as my number 1 stack, going overweight. And so Bellinger is my highest owned, followed by Guerrero. Then I really like Ryan O'Hearn and Kyle Schwarber and Christian Encarnacion. I know Tim didn't really like going with the cheap options today, but Encarnacion is a good bat and he's batting cleanup. So I do really like going cheap with him today.
For a righty against a lefty, he is probably the worst splits I've ever seen of any right-handed batter against a lefty in like history of baseball.
He's young.
It's a reasonably limited sample, but yeah, I understand it, but not what I'm
doing. He's going to hit a home run today because you said that.
Tim, you'd think baseball is the most nerdy stat, people, right? You would think someone would have figured out to change the damn bat in 150 years or whatever baseball's been around, right? It took till the Yankees to do it with 2 guys to figure this out. Seems like someone was slacking across baseball. It should have been invented 10 or 15 years ago, right?
I would almost guarantee it's nothing.
It's to move the sweet spot where the 2 hitters basically always make contact. Makes sense, but it's just crazy that it has never been figured out by any other team until today. So it should have been like the A's and Moneyball or something like that. Let's go to second base here. Tim Cash. What are we doing? A few ways to go, not a position I'm really prioritizing. Basically, whatever fits into my lineup today. How are you doing it?
Yeah, second base is a pretty gross position. It seems like every single slate. Otto Lopez, 2,800, I think is okay. Batting second against Heaney. Andre Jimenez, 3,900, batting cleanup. I think he's an okay play. Matt McClain on FanDuel, at least, he's only 3K. So on FanDuel, I think he's a really strong play. But even on DK, I think it's fine for GPPs. Brandon Lau, I think, is a really strong play at second base as well. So those would be my options for cash games. I'm currently going Lau, but I don't know. I'm not completely 100% sure what I'm doing at second.
So I'm saving a little. I've got Garcia just trying to hit a home run in the wind and weather. It is against Nola, but there's a couple different ways he can score points for you. I think Lopez is fine too at 2,800. So I'm sort of spending down a little bit more than you, Tim, at least on DraftKings for cash. TJ, just not really a lot to like here. Your boy Jazz is joining one of the highest optimal minus projection rates on SimLabs right now. Who are you looking at? Holiday. I like Jackson Holiday if you're doing the Orioles, even though he's down in the order. I think he's up one spot today from 8 to 7, but he's bulked up a little bit. He's looked pretty good. I think he's interesting for tournaments. What are you doing?
Love the Jackson Holiday call. I think I got 10% of him today, but Jazz Chisholm is my number one second baseman. Got a ton of him. Andres Jimenez is number 2. I think he's one of the best like mid-range salary savers on the slate today. He's been batting really well for the Blue Jays so far. I got some Yoan Moncada for the Angels, some Bryce Terang for Milwaukee, Brandon Lau, Matt McClain, Bryson Stott, Marcus Semien, Campbell, like basically just mixing in guys in stacks here outside of Chisholm and Jimenez.
All right, third base, Tim Cash. You can home run hunt with a Matt Chapman. You can go for the weather with Alec Boehm. Those are probably the two guys. Again, third base just isn't really spectacular today. They're both topping the ownership percentages here. After that, I mean, it dies off pretty quickly at third base today. You have a preference between either one of those?
I'm playing Matt Chapman on both sites. I was gonna bet his home run prop, but it is so low on DraftKings.
It was like 3. It was a little higher on Fan. I did bet it on FanDuel. I think
What did you get for a number on FanDuel?
It was like 330 or something like that. I can pull it.
He's 235 on DK.
Yeah, that's all. I know that's all you get, but he is. Let me find Matt Chapman. If you want to follow that, it's 310 on FanDuel now. I think it was like 320 or 330.
Yeah, so I'm going Matt Chapman on both sites, in both formats as well. So he's my guy today. He was going to be a tater, but I don't want people to bet him at 235.
No.
If you can get him around like 340 or something, then that's fine. But don't do it on DraftKings. And then Alec Baum is completely fine. Chisholm is okay as well. I think Yoan Moncada as part of like an Angel stack is completely reasonable as well. But I think Chapman's the guy in cash games.
TJ, what are you looking at third base?
Well, before I even get to third base, I'll say we are about 7 likes away from the second Spidey Bomb. The first one, of course, was Jazz Chisholm plus 500. But Chris Longo in chat bringing up a really, really great point. There are over 400 people watching on YouTube, and we're not even at 100 likes yet. This is despicable, people. I know. We already got one Spidey Bomb. We're getting another one at 75. We're getting a third at 100. I'll keep going if the likes keep going up. But all you got to do is you take your mouse, slide it over, click the like button. I'll even give the phone demonstration because I know my guy J3 is here. Mario Donizzi's here. They love the phone demonstration. So we'll do it, people, because it's not that hard to hit the like button. You go to YouTube, okay? On YouTube. There it is. Right at the top. You open YouTube. You're probably going to find RotoGrinders right near the top. There we are, right there. Give it a little click. Now, here's the problem. It's not easy to hit the like button because the chat is blocking it. So you got to click hide chat and go right up to the camera. You see that little X? Got to hit the little X. There you go. Now you can hit the like button. There it is. I've already hit it. I'm working. I'm here on the show and I've already hit it. People.
TJ, this was great, but as producer, I would have expected you to put yourself on the whole screen for this one. Come on, man.
The people love the little phone. The little phone. I should have taken down the screen share. You're absolutely right. But having said that, it worked. Shout out to the chat. You guys rock. You're great. You got 100. We are up to 120 likes. Gangsta Charles is telling me I need to get a haircut. Guess what? You're right. I do need to get a haircut. Second Spidey Bomb is Cedric Mullins plus 625 today. Cedric Mullins. So our first one is Jazz Chisholm. Second is Cedric Mullins. You guys smashed the like button a little too quick for me, so I need a moment on the third, but I'll get that out right away. Third base today. Guy I'm getting to the most is Chisholm again because he has second and third base eligibility. After that, it's just a crapshoot for me. I like the Matt Chapman call. I think Alec Bohm is in a fine spot, but other than that, it's a pretty weak position today outside of Chisholm, Bohm, and Chapman. So I'm just mixing and matching guys like Will Wagner, Heimer Candelario, Santiago Espinal, even getting a little bit of Ryan McMahon for Colorado today, going up against Bradley. I don't feel great about anybody at this position other than Chisholm, Bohm, and Chapman.
Because you guys did so well on the likes, I'll give you a couple from mine from Scores and Odds. I'm on the Angels today. I think I'm around minus 125. Seems like that's pretty standard. And I'm on Vladdy Daddy to go deep. It was around plus 500 earlier in the day. Not sure what it's at right now. I could find that for you in just a second, but those are a couple bets I like. Let's go to shortstop Tim Cash. Without Trey Turner, who is someone I was certainly looking to get into my lineups if he would have made the lineup, but he's not in. Couple of options have opened up. We've got Bo Bichette, who seemingly, he's swinging the bat harder. If you're looking at the StatCast bat speeds and all of that fun stuff here, off to a hot start against the Orioles rookie. We've got Willy Adames as well, if you're home run hunting against Nick Martinez in Great American Small Park. A couple other plays you could make too with CJ Abrams if you wanted to play the win game, but I'm pretty much between Bichette and Adames on both sites here. Do you have a favorite? And Adams is probably pretty close to third, honestly, for me.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going Bichette on FanDuel. He's only 2,900 batting leadoff. He's way too cheap on FanDuel, so it's definitely Bichette for me on that site. I think I currently have Willy Adames on DK, but I mean Bichette is completely fine on both sites. I don't mind CJ Abrams also on either site. I think he's a really, really strong play at short. But really for me, it's between those three guys. I'm leaning the Bichette side on FanDuel, on the Adames side on DraftKings.
TJ, tournament's shortstop. If Bichette and Adames are going to be the two highest owned, it looks like Adames, even with high ownership, is still showing as a positive play. Who do you have between them and then any other favorites?
So I'm getting really overweight on Ellie De La Cruz today. He's going to be my favorite play for tournaments at this position. I am getting to a lot of cheap pitchers, and so because of that, it allows me to spend up at a lot of these positions. So I love me some Ellie De La Cruz tonight. I did drop the third Spidey Bomb in the ticker scrolling at the bottom as well. We got some big odds today for the Spidey Bombs. Plus 500 for Jazz, plus 650 for Mullins. I got a plus 951 for you. Derek Hill, batting sixth today for Miami. He's going yard on Andrew Heaney. I just got a feeling that Andrew Heaney is going to get absolutely torched today, even though it is Miami. So De La Cruz is one. Bichette and Adames are 2 and 3 for me. After that, Jackson Holiday, who we mentioned we really like today. Anthony Volpe in my Yankee stacks. Outside of that is just some cheap guys in stacks, which doesn't feel great because shortstop is typically a really strong position, but it's not that strong today outside of De La Cruz, Bichette, and Adames. So I'm getting to a little bit of Sosa, a little bit of Ortiz, a little bit of Xavier Edwards from Miami. Taylor Walls batting fifth, insanely cheap. That's about it.
You're selling yourself short, TJ. Plus 1,100 on DraftKings. Even Tim can get on the Derek Hill train over on DraftKings.
1,100 on DraftKings. Derek Hill time.
Go. I just followed you into that, TJ. I like that one. Tim's got to find it. While you're searching, Tim, Outfield, real quick. Actually, here, before I get to Outfield, I want to tell you guys about the props and pick'em package. It's at a discount. It features daily prop picks and fantasy pick'em selections for many of your favorite RotoGrinders experts, me included. We're knocking 50% off your price for the first month when you sign up at the link below. So make sure to check that one out. Outfield, Tim, what are we doing? Mike Trout off to a pretty horrible start. Seems like every projection system wants to put him in today. Seems reasonable. 2 games do not make an MLB player season. So Trout's probably the guy you're going to want to play today. And then I'm going to throw it to you. I told you I was going to do this, so I hope you're prepared. In the mid-tier, you need maybe 1 or 2. So I'm going to throw Colton Cowser, Taylor Ward, Jorge Soler, and Nick Castellanos. It's basically a FanDuel call for you. Rank those 4 for me over there. A lot of people are going to be choosing between them.
So this is for FanDuel?
Yeah.
So I would go, I'd probably rank Castellanos last out of that group. I'd probably go Soler first, then Cowser. Yeah. So
Soler, Cowser, Ward, and
yep.
Castellanos. All right. So that's a quick
Yep.
breakdown for that. What else are you doing in cash today?
Yeah, so it's kind of a toss up between Mike Trout and Aaron Judge. I think for the primary like spend up at this position, I can completely understand if people want to play Aaron Judge. I'm gonna go with Trout. 2 games does not make a season. I would play him while he's healthy. So I'm going to continue to play Mike Trout. I'm going to go back to Taylor Ward, at least on FanDuel, where he's still like way too cheap. So definitely going to go back to Ward. Soler is obviously fine in GPPs. I like Elliot Ramos on both sites. I think he's a really good play as part of that giant stack that I like quite a bit today. So I like him. And then obviously some of these Orioles that you mentioned, especially on FanDuel, like Cedric Mullins is definitely in that cheap conversation. He's 2,900 as well. So I like him quite a bit today. I almost like him better than Cowser, to be honest with you. So I think that Mullins is an interesting kind of cheaper play on FanDuel at least.
All right. And then you've got Sawinski. If you need a cheap play of the day on FanDuel, he's betting 5th in the outfield. He's 2K. DraftKings, if you need cheap outfielders, Tim, what's your favorite sub like $2,700 outfielder on DraftKings today?
So I don't mind TJ's call on Derek Hill. I also don't mind Dane Myers, who's even cheaper, batting 3rd in that same spot. So both of those guys I think are viable. Like you talked about Jack Zawinski on FanDuel, he's 3K on DK, so I think he's completely fine there as well. So those are 3 of the cheap outfielders that I would consider one-offs for cash games or like a single entry team.
All right, TJ, real quick, outfielders, and then we'll take questions for a few minutes.
Yeah, guy I'm getting to the most tonight is Aaron Judge. I have about 40%, absolutely loading up on the Yankees and Judge today. Second is Cody Bellinger for me. Third is the Spidey Bomb, Cedric Mullins. Fourth is a secret because he's Spidey Bomb number 4, and I'm waiting for everybody to hit to get 10 more likes so we get up over 150 so that I can share Spidey Bomb number 4 with you. I love some Colton Cowser, getting to a little Adolis Garcia, Elliot Ramos, then Mike Trout, and that is the entirety of guys I have over 10% of. Trout, Ramos, Garcia, Cowser, Mullins, Bellinger, Judge, and Spidey Bomb number 4. I like Kyle Schwarber quite a bit, a little bit of Tyler O'Neill, Nick Castellanos batting 4th, Jason Dominguez at near the bottom of the order for the Yankees, and then another guy I don't mind, Matt Wallner. Facing against Palante, who doesn't really strike anybody out. He's just an elite ground ball pitcher. But Wallner only has a 26% ground ball rate to lefties last year. So if anybody can get into the air, it's Wallner.
All right. If you guys have any questions, put them in the RotoGrinders Discord live stream chat or on YouTube. I'm looking through here. I don't see any questions. Let's start getting to those. Actually, first, did we get the 10 likes, TJ? Why don't you double check on that? Let's get the Spidey Bomb, and maybe there's better odds somewhere. Maybe Tim can get in again on the good odds.
We did, and it's Anthony Santander plus 370. He's getting his first one as a Blue Jay today.
Love that. I did that myself earlier as well. I didn't write it up, but yeah, 370 is on FanDuel for anybody that wants to follow TJ and myself onto that. Sorry, Tim, your odds are I don't even see. He's not even on my odds screen on DraftKings, which is a little strange. So we'll see about that one. No real questions have come up here. Let's recap pitching. Tim, if anybody was wondering about starting pitching, they showed up late. Give me a quick 1 to 2 minute synopsis on starting pitching.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be Taj Bradley as your first click, I think, in any format, any contest size. DeGrom is an interesting play as well. I like Michael Wacha for GPPs. I don't mind Max Meyer as a cheap punt. I think that would be like my first 4 guys in, and then you can spread out to guys like Nick Martinez, Palante, Bailey Ober, guys like that. But it's definitely Bradley is your easy first click for pitching.
And then TJ, what are you doing for pitchers today from a tournament perspective?
Bradley is going to be my highest owned guy. After that, I'm kind of splitting it up pretty evenly. I do have 30% Robbie Ray. He's going to be my SP2 today for tournaments. And then DeGrom, I plugged in Waka after we talked just because, like, no Ramirez, that lineup does look pretty bad. And so DeGrom, Waka, Feltner, Nola, Palante, Meyer, Fitz, and Martinez are just the group of guys that I'm going to get like 10 to 20% of today.
JB wants to know opinion on Bailey Ober. Just, I think someone, I mean, if I'm looking on DraftKings, there's, we've got the couple of top guys, let's say DeGrom, Bradley, Nola, Robbie Ray. I would play all of them. I would play guys like Waka. I would play Martinez. I would play Meyer over paying up for a Bailey Ober. So he's like at least 7th or 8th on my priority list. Does anyone have a take on him today?
I think he's completely fine. I prefer, obviously, DeGrom and Bradley more. I prefer Waka more. I probably prefer saving money a little bit more than going to Ober. So for me, he just kind of like falls a little bit. But I mean, he is ranked 4th in fantasy points on both RG, and I think he's maybe 3rd overall in fantasy points on the bat. So projections like him. He's going to be much lower owned than Bradley, Ray, and DeGrom also. So, and he's going to be lower owned than Waka. So, I mean, I guess he's fine. He's not somebody that I'm considering, but he's okay.
Yeah, to me, I think it certainly makes sense if you're playing what are the chalky stacks of the day? Probably either team in the San Francisco game, the Angels, right? If you're playing one of those, maybe a Bailey Ober on that tournament team, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that play at all. I don't mind it at all.
All right. Let's see. Someone I'm really high on is Robbie Ray. It looks like he's going to be the 2nd or 3rd highest owned, but I would have no problem going very overweight on Robbie Ray today. I love his strikeout upside and only 1 walk in spring training for him. If that carries over even the smallest amount into the regular season, that could be an absolute gem from Robbie Ray today. Don't see really a ton of questions. We've only got a couple of minutes left. TJ, you got any final thoughts on the slate today?
No, not really. I think there is reminder. It's early in the season, so you can truly play almost anybody at this point. We are running low on data, so really it's more about pivoting plays. It's more about, especially always in baseball, but especially at this point in the season, it's more about doing what everybody else is not doing than it is about playing the quote unquote best plays in a tournament scenario, because even the best players can go 0 for 5, even the worst players can hit a home run. And early in the season, we don't know what kind of form everybody is going to be in, right? We don't know who was following their training program to a T and are in great shape. We don't know who has had a nagging injury in the off season, who, whatever, what have you, the various factors that make you succeed or not succeed in a sport as complex as baseball. So especially early, always in baseball, but especially early in the year, don't be afraid to get a little crazy.
Tim, you got any taters to get us out of here?
I did bet TJ's Derek Hill, and then I also bet Wilmer Flores at plus 475 and Heliot Ramos at where'd he go? I lost him. No, I did not. I did not get my Ramos bet in, and now he's off the board for some reason. But I did
you can bet it live, even though he hasn't had an at bat for less odds than it was before.
I did get Flores at 475 and Hill at plus 1100.
All right, Ramos was 480 on FanDuel. If you're searching probably on the live, it's probably close to that one. If you were looking for that, Flores, it's looking like I see a plus 600 on MGM, and that's probably the only thing that looks bettable. I don't know what the things look like live, but we'll see about from there. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Happy to be back. I think I'm back on next Sunday as well. So hopefully I should be on. I think I'm going to be on most Sundays. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot of people that want to get on these shows here at RotoGrinders, but I'll see if I can muscle my way back on to at least hold it down Sundays. For Tim and TJ, I'm Britt. Thanks to everybody for watching, and we out, y'all.